She's a bit dramatic. You
Actually.
do you. Yeah.
Listen, guys, this bit is about being unapologetically you, okay?
Hello!
Get heart-centered.
Everybody has a story. Like, it's a choice.
Hey ladies, how them bits? It is episode 20. Thank you for joining in today. We're talking about health.
And what's interesting is that health for us, we kind of felt like we need to do a 3-part series, to be honest, because
We're all fucked up.
we're all just, there's so many issues. And,
Mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually.
and if
All
we
of it.
even tried to tackle health with you guys, it would be 4 hours and you would get nothing done in your life. So we're actually doing you a big favor. We're gonna break this down into 3 episodes. The first one is right now. These are gonna be short and sweet. We're gonna talk about each of our health journeys and how we have kind of mentally and physically and spiritually and mindfully used everything in our power to come out the other side. And again, what I want you guys to understand is sometimes you're still in it, sometimes you are entering it, sometimes you are through in one area but maybe not the other. And so that's what we're just gonna do, is we're just gonna break health down, because I think the journey is what's really important. And so we're gonna start with Miss Raina O'Dell, who, guys, this is episode 20. So if you've listened to all 20, you pretty much have pieced together that Raina's life and her journey is anything but typical. And I want you to kind of back up, because this is just about health. I want you to take us back to 17, 18-year-old Raina, and then kind of bring us up to present time.
Okay, so thank you for having me today. Wow.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for
Wow,
joining
I'm so
us.
honored that you would join
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
We have a headband for you later.
Thank you so much.
We should flag for you.
So I'll start at 18. You know, you've heard my story. I've gone through some shit. I found myself at 18. You know, I had a baby. And so growing up, I was fit. I was like my 11-year-old is tall and skinny. Like, that was mine. I remember going to church with my dad and everyone called me a beanpole, right? That was my nickname growing up. And I didn't gain weight until I had children. And when I had children, I was also dealing with a lot of, you know, external things, addict husband, all of these things that caused a lot of depression and anxiety and eating disorders. And I found myself having this child and then having extra weight and developing eating disorders because of that and stress that I had. So I had a full-time job at that point. I worked in a call center, and it was the worst job of my entire life, on a different note. But while I worked during that job, I had a desk, and in my desk I would have a box of Cheerios every single day. And if I felt a hunger pain, I would pop a handful of Cheerios, and that was what I ate. I wouldn't eat dinner. It was my Cheerio diet. And I struggled with that, which, you know, anorexia, and then it turned into binge eating and bulimia, and then I stopped the bulimia, and then it was just binge eating, and then I just gained weight. So it wasn't until, 26? I mean, that was like an 8-year journey that I had, struggling with weight up and down. I mean, I got down to like 110 pounds, and I was like, I look amazing, because I was like skin and bones, and I just had this warped, fucked mindset of thinking that I needed to be skinny to be pretty, right? And at the age of 26, I stumbled into this just routine. I remember just looking down and being overweight and having, you know, such a big midsection, and I would have cellulite and just all the things, and I just felt like shit. I had abused my body for the longest time with all of the ups and downs and eating disorders, and just destroyed my metabolism. And when I found this joy for fitness, which had been just foreign to me, it completely and totally changed my life. And so I found this routine with fitness and nutrition and just finding joy in that. And then when I got to a certain point in my life, around 27, I decided that I wanted to compete, because I figured, you know, I'm in shape now, so the next step clearly is to be like a bikini competitor, right? And I went to extremes with my competing. And I don't know if you guys even know this, maybe you do. I haven't really shared it, but the trainer that I had, the routine that I found joy in was taken away when I was a competitor, because that wasn't something I could do and reach my competition goals. I had to spend a couple hours in the gym. I had to I remember sitting in a bed in a hotel before one of my competitions eating cold tilapia.
Oh God.
Yeah, eating cold tilapia and just being so numb, like no feelings, no nothing, just in such a different state. But throughout my competition, I wasn't able to get to where I needed to be quick enough. So my trainer suggested that I take a steroid for women. And I took what's called Anavar. And my prep was like 6 months, 6 to 8 months. This was something that I should have been on for about 6 weeks, but I was on it for 6 to 8 months. It completely and totally fucked my system. Completely fucked my system. And I got to a certain point where, you know, a couple years later, and I was about 29, I decided to stop competing because I wanted to live life again. I wanted to eat pizza again. I wanted to have wings. I wanted to have dinner with my family. Like, I would cook food for my kids and then just sit there at the stove and eat my cold chicken and almonds. Like, I had zero joy in life at that point. So when I decided to start eating again, I stopped the steroid, I stopped the competition, I didn't go to the gym, I stopped drinking the protein shakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I wanted food. I remember going through drive-thrus for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would binge when my husband left the house and fill up bowls and bowls and bowls of cereal and just eat and eat and eat and eat. And my business at the time was a health and fitness coach. And so I remember just being like, feeling like such a hypocrite, right? Because I was just destroying my body, destroying my metabolism, I was gaining so much weight. I had gained probably, like when I decided to stop competing to the time I was, you know, it was literally within 2 or 3 months, I had gained like 40 pounds. I was in the worst shape of my life, even going through eating disorders before finding a love for fitness. I was destroyed. And when that happened, again, I gained weight. I went to the extremes of buying HCG. I tried HCG. I was eating 500 calories a day and giving myself shots. And I remember going to the extreme of ordering more steroids, ones that would help you lose weight. And I was just so warped, thinking like, I just need to look fit so I can be successful. And through all of that, around the age of 30, I had a ton of stomach issues and all this shit. I mean, we talk about shitting all the time, so it's fine. But I was going to the bathroom like 30 times a day, going, and it was poop, and I would have blood in my stool. And I let this go on for about a year before my husband was like, maybe you should go to the doctor. And so I went to the doctor, got diagnosed, had a colonoscopy, got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And at the time I was like I had no idea what that was, and he said it was a mild case, and he handed me a bunch of pills and said, take this. And so I'm like, okay. You know, I didn't want to be on medication for the rest of my life, and that was my future at that point. So I made a choice to kind of, it was honestly a rock bottom at that point, to really say, you are in a business of health and you're not taking care of your body the way you should. And I was slowly killing myself, with food. And I recommitted mentally. I feel like I'm going off on this, but I recommitted mentally. And in 2016, I filed for divorce. I found out that my spouse was using again. Here I was, had my UC under control. I had it all. I was in remission and I was doing amazing. And I remember even showing you guys videos today being like, look how, I was in the best shape of my life before I got sick. Because I had taken back control of my mindset with food and, finally felt like I had kind of healed whatever the competition had done to me and caused my UC, I truly believe. And when I filed for divorce, the level of stress that happened in my life at that point, between now taking on everything in the house by myself, taking on now 2 children by myself, 2 preteens, dealing with an ex-addict, the stress nearly killed me, and my ulcerative colitis just kind of really flared back up and didn't slow down. I ended up having a surgery 6 months later to remove my large intestine, and had another surgery right after that, a couple months after that. Went through what's called J-pouch surgery. I had no external bag like I do now, and I had that for about 8 months, but I remember getting that surgery, even before I had the surgery, I had my ileostomy for, you know, a couple months before having my second surgery for my J pouch. And I remember up to that surgery feeling so good with my bag, like for the first time in years. I had felt better with my ileostomy for those 2 months than I had when I was 18. Like I had next level energy, just an excitement again for life, even though I had this bag on the outside of my stomach that was literally holding shit, right? And so going into that J pouch surgery, in the back of my mind, and I kept catching myself being like, give it a shot, give it a shot, give it a shot. I knew that it wasn't gonna work. And I partially think now, I'm like, okay, what if I would have changed that mindset into really believing that it would have worked? Would it have worked? And I don't know, and I'll never know. But I remember trying the J pouch and being so sick still and continually losing weight and not being able to eat anything. I remember cutting everything out of my diet but cream of rice, and it was all I could hold on to, but I wasn't even holding on to it at that point. I still wasn't holding on to it. And that led to my final surgery in February of 2018, where I just had my entire large intestine was already removed. They removed the J pouch and part of my small intestine. And 6 weeks after that, I was released to work out, and I didn't take it slow. And I honestly made the commitment at that point to live the best life I possibly could and fuel my body and not poison it. I don't know, it was the control I had again.
I mean, thank you so much for sharing it. And it's funny because I think Lindsay and I know you relatively well, but that was a lot to kind of listen to.
Yeah, I got teared up, honestly, because we joke about you being the queen of routine, and we throw shade about it and joke about it, but when your life is taken from you and it's all you know, you said something 3 times, and I picked up on it. You said it before you started talking, in the middle, and at the very end, that it was you were able to take control of your life back. And as somebody that, I hate the word struggle, but that has experienced and navigates addiction in all various aspects, especially with food, to hear that it gives hope. And I want the listeners to hear that. If you are someone that struggles with any of the things that she mentioned, that there is hope that your life can be different and that you do have control, maybe not right now, but you can regain control over your life.
But I think that that's an interesting thing, and yet your whole journey was looking for control, right? And then it wasn't until you had a huge health issue that you realized that the control wasn't what you had built. Can you talk about what control looked like pre and post?
Yes.
And I just, even personally, I want to know what that felt like, because most of us are stuck in the before sick, looking for control in the wrong places phase, whereas you found the healthy control. Was it because you got dealt that card?
I think I had no idea what control was over my eating at the age of 18. I didn't know at 26. I had no fucking idea at the age of 27 while I was competing. I thought I did, and at the time it felt like I did because I was eating so little to get to where I needed to be, and I had this other person telling me it was the right thing to do, and this is exactly what you need to do, and you're doing great, take this, you'll be great. The only time I really felt, other than now, that I had control was after I got diagnosed. I didn't have to be serious about my health until I had to be serious about my health, until it was my only option. And that's why I saw it. And I hear all the time, like, I have Crohn's, I can't do this, I have ulcerative colitis, I can't do this, I have this, I have that. But or I'll hear on the opposite side of things, I wish I had the control you have. I wish I had the discipline you had. And I tell people all the time, you don't have a fucking choice. You don't have a choice. But so often we don't take it seriously until we have to.
Which is a very, very harsh reality. And then, we kind of play that, the mindset of the teenager where it's like, that's never going to happen to me.
Yeah, I won't have to deal with that.
Oh, I'm not going to have to deal with that.
And I didn't even know what an ostomy was until I had it.
And that was going to be my question. What was it like waking up in the hospital the first day that your body had physically changed?
Yeah,
in the sense of you now have a bag.
Intestine living on
Well,
the
the
outside.
first time I had it, it was temporary. And I remember the surgeon coming in and being like, we'll see you in 2 months and we'll take it off. And so in my mind, this was a temporary thing. I saw it as this accessory that I don't know what, I was okay with it. It didn't sink in that this was gonna be forever, because at that point it wasn't. And so I felt good, but I remember getting the bag and being able to eat, even in the hospital, the shittiest food, I could eat and not feel anything. And it was so weird. I could watch it come out of my body, and for the first time ever, I could really see what I was eating and how my body was responding to it. I've learned so much by having an ostomy, because just as soon as food hits my mouth, I can see how my body's responding, like physically see it, you know what I mean? And then I had the J pouch and it didn't work out. And the second that I found out that this was gonna be a permanent thing, I said, absolutely. Because I could remember for those 2 months how fucking good I felt. And I didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care what the risk. I said, if I can just feel good, that's what I want. And I'm okay with it.
And that was gonna be my next question is, do you still have any, do you ever look at it now? Is there any worried woman? Is there any self-conscious vibes? How did you move through that? With body image, like if that's what we want to call it, like how did you process that? And do you still struggle with any of that today?
So right when I got it, I immediately went to Facebook and I would join groups on Facebook of like people with ostomies, right? And I would go through and I would scroll, and it was overweight person after overweight person. It was person after person complaining about the medication they were on, about how miserable they were, how tired they were, how they can't eat anything, like so much negativity. And I read that in the hospital because the nurses are suggesting, that I go and join this group and just get ideas, and I could even come and join a support group. And I'm thinking, I don't want to be in this fucking hospital in a group with old people. Like it wasn't my situation. And so I made a decision that day to say, okay, I'm gonna be the hot girl with an ostomy. I'm going to show people that you can feel good, that you don't have to be on medications. I left the hospital in February of 2018, refusing pain medication, refusing any medication that they were gonna give me, and I haven't taken any since. And I just made a decision that I was going to, I want to say prove to everybody, but really prove to myself that I could still live a normal life and do the things that brought me joy, even with an ostomy. The only time I thought about it was when I decided to start dating. And prior to that, it was just me, it was my kids. I'd be like, girls, come look at this, oh my God. And they'd be like, Mom, ew, it was like, it was okay when it was just me. But then I had this fear going into dating, especially that, like, what if they think it's gross? What if they don't know through my Instagram? What if I go on this date and then they're just totally turned off by it? Or what if I just had so many what ifs around my ostomy that it just got in my head, which is why I didn't go on a date for a really long time.
What's interesting to me is I was listening to you share that, and the fucking timeline, girl. I met you 2 months later, and I shared a hotel room with you, and I'm this like nudist, open, just free bird, and I'm trying to bum rush into the bathroom because I just found out that my new friend has the one thing on earth that I'm the most afraid of, and I want to see it. And I'm trying to get into the bathroom, and I'm like, why is she being weird? Like, she poops in a bag, she should be totally cool with this, not realizing that this was like fucking 2 months ago. This was your new reality and your new normal. How was that for you with friendship, now that I actually understand what this was like for you?
I had such a fear that it was gonna gross people out. I really did, because my intestine is literally 2 inches off my body, like hanging out of my body.
It's bionic.
Yeah,
it's so
crazy.
cool to me. That's why I busted in, because I'm like, that's my biggest fear. But how cool is
and
this?
I want
that you're
you to
alive?
know that you helped me see that it wasn't gross, because this bitch was like, take it off. I want to see you do it.
I wanted to see it so bad. I wanted to see the stuff come out. I really
did
wanted
too.
to see it because
I
it was
did
my
too.
worst
But
fear.
2 months after getting it,
yes.
I
And I
met
had
her,
no idea. And what I want you guys to hear is this choice that Raina made, a complete fucking stranger on the internet that had Crohn's, that I had Crohn's my whole life, right? The choice wasn't taken away from me. I was born into it. I'm watching somebody that made a decision to be brave for herself, and because of that, carved a path and lit a way for me to follow, that I knew it would be okay. And then being able to meet her and say, because I didn't realize, right? She was faking it until she made it. I didn't know that she was just going on being like, okay, I made this decision, but secretly inside, I'm also like really confused that I have this organ living on the outside of my body that's, you know, yeah, now something that people are like, they just talk about it like it's a thing, but it was and still is very, you know, it's a miracle. And so the fact that you made that decision, there's a fucking domino effect when you make a decision to show up for yourself. It impacts people in ways that you may never know. And my biggest fear was shown to me, and she played it off like as if it was nothing, and inside she was fucking dying, and I didn't even know that.
But it's funny looking back at it, because I feel like the right people were introduced to me at the right time, because 2 months after having my bag, I met you, and you made me feel like it was okay to talk about it and okay to show people. Even though I talked about it, there was still this fear that was holding me back. And then boom, in comes Chad, and the first night we meet, get freaky, and it's like I had such fear, and I was so in my head. Like, I'm pretty sure he messaged everyone after, and I remember him, like, me just holding my bag, like, during everything, and just freaking out, and him saying it's okay. And at that moment, yeah, he grabbed my hand and said it's okay. And in that moment, I was like, fucking marry me. Yeah, marry me.
Finish having sex with me and then marry me.
It made me feel sexy again when I had not ever felt sexy with it. You know what I mean? And it helped me see that. And I remember texting him on my way home and just being like, thank you. And he was like, it's okay. It's just an accessory. That's all I see it as, is an accessory.
But we make this reality in our minds.
In our heads.
Because it's
1000%.
Which is insane. But I mean, I'm wondering if you can also kind of dive into, and I am going to take one thing away from you. Can you tell 3 things that now currently you do that is a non-negotiable for your health? And I'm going to take away movement, because we all know you're always the one that says, yeah, I move my body. I like to move my body every day and routine and no. But can you give some specifics? Give us 3 things that right now is a non-negotiable for you to continue the way you are.
You mean
anything? I am
okay.
not worried.
If I say something and you're like, no, that's not what I'm talking about, correct me.
I will.
Okay. Number 1, I still am amazed every fucking day that I left the hospital with no medication. I am thankful as hell for CBD and THC. I cannot, people have their opinions about it, but I will tell you right now that a huge reason why I'm med free is because of it. And I think it scares a lot of people. Second would be nutrition. I feel like this could be the rest of it, but I'm so OCD when it comes to my nutrition. I really am, and I wasn't like that at all prior to being sick or even having a bag. But I remember even when I had the J pouch, I remember eating pizza and all of these. I mean, I eat pizza now, but really eating pizza and wings and burgers and chicken sandwich, like anything I could eat to try to gain weight back. And that caused a ton of issues with my gallbladder because I was eating such shitty fried foods. And so now I'm battling with my ostomy, and then I now have gallbladder issues, all because I was eating shit. And I would see how, good I felt when I would eat healthy for a few days, and then how shitty I would feel when I did eat, the junk food or go out and just not give a fuck about what I ate. So my nutrition is everything. I have my celery juice every single day and I don't miss it. And I have my veggies every single day and I don't miss them. And one challenge has been not being able to eat vegetables, right? And I miss popcorn, and I can't eat vegetables. I can't have a big fat cold salad anymore. Like, who would think that you would miss a salad? But I really do miss having like a big fat salad.
And
I don't know what
three?
my third thing
Number
would
3?
be.
I'm interested also, I want you to share a little bit about, I feel like the celery juice should be in its own category because
I almost
this
separated
bionic
food
bitch,
and celery.
I will never forget getting a phone call about, oh, well, now I have to get my fucking gallbladder taken out and I'm not getting gutted again. And can you give your experience? Because I know, guys, and this is again, just a person's experience that they're sharing with you.
And I'm not saying X, Y, and Z is healing anything or anything
Correct.
like that. Yeah, I'm
But
glad you said that for that
to
disclaimer.
preface, you know, like
Right.
just because I know people get crazy and that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But the experience that was so interesting to watch was the choice to tell a doctor, I'm not going to do that because I know that's what you know and that's what you're telling people, and people get scared of what they, you know, this is a medical professional and this is what I should do, and you know, so can you give a little bit more just about that specifically? Because celery juice is its own thing.
Yeah, in December of 2018, I thought I was having a blockage with my ostomy. Like if I eat, I was like, shit, I shouldn't have that pistachio. Like I was like trying to think of what was causing this blockage. My stomach was hurting so bad. It was radiating up into my chest. It felt like I was almost having a panic attack. And I went into the ER thinking I had this blockage, and they did scans and things like that, and they said that my gallbladder was like protruding. I mean, like bulging with gallstones. And I was like, how the fuck does that happen? They said usually it's diet, and I was like, well, that explains everything, because I just spent the last year eating everything to try to gain weight because of my UC. And I wasn't eating what I should have to try to gain weight, right? And so I went to the ER. They were saying, you know, you need to get your gallbladder out today. We can do it in the morning. All of these things, and what was going through my head was, fuck, I need childcare. I'm a single mom now. I don't have time for this. I've already had my large intestine removed. I've had 3 surgeries in under a year. Like, I don't want another, and I want to keep this organ, whatever the fuck it does. I didn't even know what it did at that point. And I just remember telling them, no, I don't want to do it. And they looked at me like I was fucking insane. They did my discharge papers. They did go in to remove, there was a huge gallstone, I guess, that was blocking a duct. So they actually did go in and just like remove that. When they did that, they nicked my pancreas, which caused mild pancreatitis. Fucking don't even get me started. And especially after that, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done. We're just going home and I'm keeping my gallbladder. And so as soon as I left the hospital, I went to Instagram and I said, what are your gallbladder remedies? And I went to Medical Medium, and is that what his name is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Google, and all of these things.
The almighty Googs.
To try to find some natural remedy to heal my gallstones. And that's when I started apple cider vinegar and lemon. That's when I started celery juice. And it was on December 15th of 2018. And I started with celery juice. I started with my ACV and lemon, started that entire routine, which I still do to this day, and I've never missed a day in almost exactly a year, or a little over a year. Yeah, a little over a year. And I went to Dallas. I did a little mini vacation in Dallas, Texas, middle of last year, and on the way to the airport to go home, I started having chest pain again. In the back of my mind, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it can't be my gallstones. I had lab work done like a month before I went to Dallas, and they said, your labs are clear, your stones are dissolving, everything is amazing. And here I am, like, laughing in the face of doctors, being like, I fucking told you I could do this, and I fucking told you I didn't need my gallbladder out, and all of these things. Then I go to the hospital. I have my friend Melissa in Dallas take me to the hospital, and I'm just like, something's wrong, you know, maybe it's heartburn or acid reflux, I don't know what it is. They did a scan and I had gallstones. And in the back of my head, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I've been doing this, my doctor just came back and said everything was fine. And then I started to think what I did that week while in Dallas. And I had donuts every morning. And we went for fried chicken for dinner one night. And we had burgers and fries at this greasy ass called like Ice Cream Heaven or whatever the fuck it was called, this burger place in Dallas. And I looked back at all of the food I had eaten, and Melissa, being a nutrition god, was like, Raina, you just ate all of the fried food. Like, that's why. The doctor came in and said, I'm just a person that has this gallbladder that's going to produce stones. So he said, every time you eat, you get to make a choice. You can either eat that and risk being in the hospital, having your gallbladder overworking and producing stones, or you can watch what you eat a little bit better. And so it changed everything. Even that little trip to Dallas, he was like, do you want to get your gallbladder removed? And I was like, nope, still don't want to do it. I'm just going to be a fucking adult and not eat shit. Like, I knew, and here, I haven't had an issue since then. I've been, you know, I gave up wings because I knew they were deep fried, even though I love wings. and
We
just
eat
made
pizza.
changes but it's not deep fried.
No, but
So I
I'm saying-
justify it.
So you're still living
But I'm
though.
still
I don't want
living.
people to be like,
Right.
I want to give up everything.
Right.
You don't have to, but
It's just about being conscious of what you're eating. And I know eating these things, like if I wanted wings, I told Chad the other night, I was like, I miss wings. And he goes, I know you do. And it's just, I know that if I'm going to eat them, I need to be prepared for the risk. And I only know that because my body is so sensitive now to what I eat. And I know my body so well now by just going through that I know what's fueling me and what's poisoning me.
It's incredible. And what's crazy is that this literally just happened. It's
Yeah.
not like you're retelling a story that, 5 years ago and I kind of learned this.
No.
I'm like, this is
This is
literally
within the year.
Yeah, within a year.
Yeah.
And so her road to recovery is still a year and a half, 2 years of a baby. Like
Yeah.
you're still on that journey. And we wanted to take the time to kind of showcase her health and wellness journey because I think she covered both the physical and the mental, which they go hand in hand. And next, we're going to definitely do Lindsay, and then we'll do me, because I think each one of us can bring something to the table for whoever's listening. And on that note,
I don't want to talk anymore, so we're going to do a bit of tea.
hello!
Let's change the subject really quick. We're going to do a bit of tea, and today's bit of tea is by Heather.humaning. Heather.humaning.
You go and get some swag.
Yes.
Check your slot.
Her question.
check your slot.
Check your. Her question.
I like this new phrase.
I like the slot talk.
I like the slot.
The question is, what is your darkest bit?
Oof.
And at first I was like, chocolate, like what is she talking about? Like, what is
Dark chocolate.
You know, like what dark bit are we talking? And like, I kind of just want to say, Miss Heather, maybe you were looking for us to go kind of deep, but this was an episode all about Raina and kind of her health journey. So I think we're going to keep it on the light bits.
Oh, because I was like, my darkest bit. I'm not
That's a
allowed
whole
to-
episode.
It's a whole
Denise told
episode.
me not to talk about it.
Yeah. I just feel like that would just be,
Then I need examples then.
Okay,
because
okay.
You have to go first.
Okay, I'll go first. One of my darkest bits, I feel like this might just be a confession.
Okay.
5 years ago, I sewed my husband and myself matching pillowcases. They are now frayed. They are not sleepable, but I refuse to throw them away. And I know that Raina's gonna be like, oh, good, because of her stuff. But I know you're
I'm
just
just
like,
that's the sweetest thing in the world.
no,
That's
but my
something
thing
Jacob did
is,
for us.
here's my dark bit. I refuse to throw it away, even though I know that it's probably dirty and manky. And we do wash them, let's preface that. But it's time to get new pillowcases. And so my confession right now is I need to move on and get rid of these dirty pillowcases and get some nice non-frayed with a patch and,
Is it a frugal
But it's a
thing or is
memory.
it a sentimental
I think
thing?
it's a sentimental.
It is. It's a sentimental thing, but I do really like my dark bit is I hold on to things that cause me a lot. I have the same pair of pajamas. We call them the Dotties.
I just saw that.
I know. Lindsay saw. She was. Yeah. I have a pair called the Dotties I've had for probably 25 years, and I refuse to throw them away. It's a dark bit of I like to be comfort, and even if it comes at the expense of something that should be tossed, has nothing to do with money. It's just a dark bit.
I don't even have anything fluffy like that. Like, I
No,
can't
my
think
dark
of
bits are fucking
anything-
dark.
Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind, and I will not go into it because we will probably talk about it at some point, but I am a massive worrier. Like WORRIER. Like I am in this constant state of what happens if this goes away, what happens if this happens, what happens if he does. Like I am
talking to
constantly.
me all the time about living
I
in fear of what
know.
ifs. Interesting projection.
That's why it's a dark bit. That's why we don't talk about it.
So okay. So I was pillowcase and pajamas. You are worrying. Linz, dark bit.
It's a
Fuck.
hard one.
And I just want you guys to know, if you're listening, we do not take time to like think of our curated
We do not.
answers. So that's why there's sometimes a pause where we're like, and the best I could come up with was my pillowcase. Like, guys,
I think
this-
that's like an easy out though.
of a dark bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just envious of your like very, I don't want to say simple because you're a kid, so it's not simple at all. But like ideal, I don't know. Like,
Well, you
because
guys
when
know
say
there's dark bits.
In my head, so then go fucking deep. Tell me
But
some
I
dark
said
shit.
One deep dark bit.
I know,
Go.
but we
One
said,
deep dark
Go.
bit.
but we said
One
Go.
deep dark bit. One. You don't have to go into it. I just said I'm a warrior.
Okay.
One.
I'm a binge eater still.
Yes.
Boom.
There it is.
Yes.
That's
There
my
it was.
deep dark
And
bit.
she just said it out loud.
I owned it. So yes,
Go on,
that
Japan.
is. I know. That is mine. I would like to go back to the pillowcase.
Okay.
Could we go back to?
We're gonna act like you said
Okay,
pillowcase.
Can we go back to
else.
pillowcase and
Yes.
nobody message?
Yes.
Hashtag
She hides
ignore
the
it.
food in the pillowcase.
That's why it's so
I
good.
didn't do it too
I was
soon.
right.
Oh my god. Well, no, actually, I had never thought of that, and now I am going to store it in the
Great.
pillowcase. No, I am. You
I was
guys.
like, what's that lump in the pillowcase?
Yeah.
It's just a frayed lump. What do you mean? It's nothing. It's
And
definitely
here's,
not a loaf
I'm
of
gonna
bread.
I'm gonna pull this full circle. Raina's health journey is all about that. These are the consequences when you make poor choices. She's still moving through it. For me, my dark bit is I am still in it. So regardless of where you are, when we do each one of our health episodes, that's what I want you to take away is that wherever you're at is okay.
You want me to show
So
my
yes,
outfit?
Linz, please cover
Take the
up.
pressure off
please,
Valley.
please take the pressure off me.
It's not news, but I'll share it because
Share it.
I feel like it needs to be said. I'm an addict. My dark bit is that I was born an addict and I will be an addict for the rest of my life. Now, if I choose to act out in addictive behaviors is a completely different component of that I'm now learning, that I'm now learning 16 years after giving up the drug of choice and the alcohol. I am still an addict. I'm an addict of marijuana. I am an addict of food. I am an addict of sex. I am an addict of anything that makes me feel good. And I know that. And I work on that every single day. So with that, ladies, take care of them bits.
Yeah. Hey, Lady Bits, thanks again for tuning in and listening to our podcast. The way this community really grows and supports one another is simply by word of mouth. We would really appreciate it if you could head over and rate and review our podcast on iTunes, then go check out our social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and go like, share, comment, and subscribe to all of it. This community is really to support women, educate women, and also just to help you find your voice. So until next time, take care of the bits you've got.